141 for the 24-25 season. This is going to be an amazing weight class. Even though this weight lost a couple hammers from a year ago, there's some new faces, some fresh talent that's going to be entering this weight class, making it, I think, going to be one of the most talked about weight classes of the year, particularly the high-end guys, the top title contending wrestlers. I feel like are going to make this weight extra compelling. Going to get into my national champion prediction, all 8 All-Americans. I'll give you even my round of 12. The key departures, the new faces, some wild cards, and a sense of how this weight shook out a year ago. I'm going to start with the key departures. Who are the big names that left this weight class? Well, big name, Real Woods from Iowa has graduated. Lachlan McNeil, UNC All-American, is moving up to 149. As is, I believe, Anthony Echemendia for Iowa State. You've got Cole Matthews from Pitt, an All-American who graduated. And then you have Ryan Jack. It sounds like NC State is going to be moving some things around their lineup. So All-American Ryan Jack for NC State, I believe, is going to be moving up or redshirting, making way for some new faces there. Some of the new faces, who are they going to be? Well, it starts with Andrew Alirez from Northern Colorado. He was the 2023 NCAA champion at 141. He was an undefeated NCAA champion, beating Real Woods, who was also undefeated until that NCAA finals match, which was an amazing match. Go check it out if you haven't watched it yet. But Alirez took last year off to pursue making the Olympic team, and while he fell short of that goal, there's a lot of excitement as he returns to this weight class, which looks a little different from when he last won it. You've got national champion Jesse Mendez there, Bo Bartlett's there, along with a host of other talent. But that's just one of the new faces, Andrew Alirez, that's re-entering 141. We're going to see Casey Swiderski. I'm predicting, it sounds like Iowa State is going to have Casey Swiderski make the cut down to 141. Now, he's wrestled at 141 in the past. He was an All-American last year at 149, and it seems like Anthony Echemendia has totally outgrown. I mean, he said it in his post-NCAA's interview, I've outgrown 141. I can't make it anymore. And now Iowa State, which has, on paper, an absolute, not dominant, but juggernaut type of lineup. Now they have this 141 weight where who's going to take it if Echemendia is not there? Well, it seems like it's going to be Swiderski. Nothing's confirmed yet, but that's my prediction. Casey Swiderski is going to wrestle 141 this year. You also have Sam Latona, 2-time All-American for Virginia Tech, making his second weight change. He was a 25 to start his career, had been at 133 the last couple of years, and now moving up to 141 for his final year. Frankie Talshahar for Northwestern, coming off of a red shirt, will be re-entering this weight class, as is Arizona State's Emilio Isaguerra. Isaguerra, he had kind of a weird first year where he was in red shirt and then he beat Brock Hardy in the last match of the year. Jesse Vasquez got injured, so Isaguerra got put in the lineup in Pac-12s and didn't qualify, even though he was definitely a qualifier level guy. He didn't have the resume to get that to punch his way to NCAAs. So that's a lot of new faces. That's a lot of talent that is entering 141 pounds. A reminder how this weight shook out last year. You had Jesse Mendez knocking off Bo Bartlett in the NCAA finals in what was maybe it was probably the sequence of the entire tournament between Bo and Jesse Mendez. You had Bo getting in on the double leg, the match-winning double leg, head in, or hips in, head up, back straight. He was in great position to finish this, and Mendez hits the move of the maybe tournament when he Granby's out of it, gets the takedown for the win. And that just goes to show how narrow the margins are going to be at this weight class. And now you throw in another national champion with Andrew Alirez, it's going to be unbelievable. So that was the final. Mendez, champion from Ohio State. Bo Bartlett from Penn State in the finals. Then you had Brock Hardy and Real Woods, 3rd and 4th. Anthony Echemendia placing 5th. Lachlan McNeil, Ryan Jack. Oh yeah, Vance Vombauer from Minnesota, rounding out the podium there. So great tournament. 141 was fun, but I think it's going to be even more fun this year. Some of the wild cards, guys, to watch out for who have a high watermark. These are wrestlers that have notched really big wins in their career, but they need to find that consistency to get on the podium or place really high. Sam Latona, this is a guy, he's got a win over Vito Arujau. He gave him tough matches, even in defeat. He's beaten multiple All-Americans. He's been an All-American himself, but it's been the consistency for Sam that has sort of eluded him. Will a move up in weight, will that help him find that consistency again and help him get on the podium in his final year? Maybe. I think we could see that for Sam. I obviously think it's definitely possible for him. Josh Edmond, another guy with wins over All-Americans, but it's finding that ability to put it all together at the NCAA tournament that's eluded Josh Edmond from Missouri. And then Vince Cornella from Cornell. He's someone who battled injury at the end of last year, but we've seen him notch some big wins in his career. So those are my wild cards, some guys with definite ability to knock off All-Americans, but there's still questions if they can put it together at the NCAA tournament for this season. All right, I'm going to get into it. Here are my predictions for 141 pounds, starting with the round of 12. I've got Tegan Jamison from Oklahoma State. Now, Tegan was interesting, and if you looked at my board here where I have all my notes, I had some scratches here because I wrote my top 8 and then I switched it up. And I initially had Tegan on the podium at 141, and then I was thinking a little bit, this is an insanely deep weight class. There's going to be a lot of really good guys left off the podium. That's just the reality of the situation of 141. But then I was thinking about Tegan and the weight cut and how is he going to be able to maintain it throughout the year. And what I saw from Tegan last year was a guy who beat a lot of All-Americans during his career, or during his season, but at the end it seemed like the weight took a toll. And I'm wondering if we could see a repeat of that this year. I'm not sure. So I was a little less sure of putting Tegan on the podium with that fact. Jordan Titus, West Virginia. Tough guy to take down. Really unique skill set. Very good athlete. Guy who can get the legs. A guy who can counter score and ride situationally. I think he's going to have a good year and end up on the round of 12, along with Emilio Izaguirre from Arizona State and Vance Vombauer, who was on the podium last year. I think he falls just short this year. He had a great tournament, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to replicate it 2 years in a row, not with the field as deep as this one is. So I'm going to get into my podium. And this is one of the new faces that I should have mentioned that I don't think I did. Kai Orini from NC State. I think he's going up. It's not confirmed yet. We were at NC State. It was kind of alluded to, but no one really said it that it was happening. But reading tea leaves, it seems like Kai Orini, who is an All-American at 133 for NC State, is going to be making the move up to 141. Nothing set in stone. If he does, I predict he gets 8th place at this weight class. And that was the guy I had originally off the podium. I was like, man, Kai has just been a more consistent, proven guy as an NCAA wrestler compared to Tegan Jamison. So I did that flip at the last second before making this video. 7th place, I got Casey Swiderski finishing on the podium back-to-back years. He's someone who I think, if his offense improves slightly, now he's a goer, he's a grinder, he's got a good collar and ankle, he's got decent leg attacks. If he can get a little more consistent offensively, I think he could place higher. I think 7th is a pretty safe landing spot for Casey Swiderski, and really will get the job done for Iowa State as they're going to try to get on the podium back-to-back years. I think that would be pretty good for Casey Swiderski at this weight class, because now we got 6th place Sergio Limley. This is a guy who's beaten Brock Hardy, and this is maybe my biggest stretch of any of my predictions based on the results from a year ago. But Sergio was a true freshman a year ago. He had some real glimpses, and you look at his season, and man, a little bit of a tough draw situation at NCAAs, but I think Sergio is going to put it all together this year and get on the podium. He's got the wins. He's got the offense. This guy is a goer, great counter offense. He can generate, very physical wrestler. I think that's the kind of wrestler you can see getting on a run at the NCAA tournament. So look for Sergio Limley to have a big year following a really solid true freshman campaign. 5th place, and this is where it gets really, really tough. 5th place, Brock Hardy. This is a guy in his career, he's got wins over Bo Bartlett. He's got a win over Real Woods. He's really, really tough. For Brock last year, I thought he was going to be a guy you could definitely see wrestling in the NCAA finals, and the consistency wasn't there for Brock. Now, another year training. Nebraska does great things with development. Can he put it together at the NCAA tournament and make the finals? I think that's absolutely possible. But I have him finishing 5th behind Cale Happel, a guy who had 2 wins over him a year ago for UNI. UNI going to have a pretty tough team, and Cale Happel, a guy who had a good year last year, I think he's going to take a step up in the perception. I think he's a little under the radar, maybe a little underappreciated. But if you go look at his wrestle stat, look at his results from last year, I think you'll be really impressed with Cale Happel and his overall resume. So I have him getting 4th. 3rd place, this is where It gets even tougher. I've got Bo Bartlett, and it could be just the recency. It's like, hey, Jesse has the last win. Andrew Liras has the last win over him. And really, those are the big three here. Bo Bartlett, Andrew Liras, Jesse Mendez. How do you have it shaken out? I've got Bo in third. But listen, if you don't think Bo can win this weight, I think you're nuts. He's beaten Jesse Mendez. He was a double leg finish away from beating him in the NCAA finals. And I think for Bo coming into his final year, there's a great chance. And, you know, the elephant in the room is that he goes to Penn State. And there's just, you know, anytime it's close within the margins, your gut goes towards the Penn State guy. But I think for Andrew and Jesse Mendez, I think they're able to keep Bo Bartlett off. He's got it. If he trusts his offense a little bit more, if he's firing just a little bit more, he could absolutely take this weight. Second place, I've got Andrew Liras. I've got him falling to Jesse Mendez, and here's why. I think we saw Jesse really come into his own a year ago. We saw him, he had the ability to beat Real Woods, which is really the signature win for Andrew Liras, as it was Bo Bartlett. I think a year better, and I think that year off for Liras, that can have some negative impacts as well, just being out of the lineup. You had all this momentum. You were an undefeated national champion. And then you kind of have a plot twist or a switch in focus, which I'm not saying it's a bad switch in focus, you know, going all in on freestyle and trying to make the Olympic team. But I think there are some potential negative consequences from just getting out of the lineup and out of the day-to-day grind of NCAA wrestling. And what I've seen from Jesse Mendez, and I think Jesse looked better at freestyle, right? And they had this beat the streets win. Do I put much stock into that? You know, a freestyle win for Jesse over Andrew Liras? Not a ton, not much, but it's enough. It's enough for me to say, hey, I think this is going to be Jesse's weight. We've seen such incredible improvement from Mendez from his true freshman year to true sophomore year where he won a national title. I think it is going to be Mendez over Liras. But the margins at this weight are so narrow. You could see a guy I predicted fifth, Brock Hardy, wrestling in the NCAA finals. That's not beyond the realm. But right now, I think it's Jesse Mendez's weight. Going to be a really fun weight. A lot of new faces, and there's still some uncertainty, right? Is Swiderski going down? My prediction, but I don't know for sure. Is Kairini going to bump up, and is Ryan Jack going to depart this weight for NC State? I'm not sure. That's my prediction right now. It's October, a lot still to be determined. What do you think? Who do you think ends up on the podium? Who's the national champions? I want to hear from you.